A relaxing day on a rustic swing. It's something the whole family can enjoy. This inexpensive swing was built with a chainsaw, a few hand tools, and scrap logs and metal connectors. In this video, I'll explain how I did it. First step, cut the planks from logs with a chainsaw. Here's a quick video about that. I made a detailed video that shows how this is done, which I'll link to right here. But the summary, if you don't want to watch it, is use a very sharp chain, wear good safety equipment, and block and stabilize the trunk before you get started. Then initially snap a chalk line so you get a very straight cut, and then just work forwards down the line, applying a little pressure, and work backwards down the line with no pressure, allowing the chainsaw to clean out the groove for you. The secret to getting a flat face here is to apply very little downward pressure. Instead, let the weight of the saw pull itself down through the trunk of the tree. Once you've got your boards, it's time to start assembling the seat. This is 5 feet. You can make it a little bigger or a little smaller depending on what you want. I tried to take the boards and line them up so that the waviness of the boards more or less lines up. Then I take 2 small pieces, cut them just like I did those boards, but I like to leave the bark on just because it looks neat. For the back side, I did 2 pieces, and for the bottom side, I have 3 pieces. First, you assemble this to these 4 pieces. This is 2 feet from bottom to top. And then we've got 2 pieces down here. This is about 18 inches from back to front. The reason that you've got 3 here and 2 back here is so that they're offset. They don't hit each other. All you have to do is screw these with some deck screws all the way down. That way you get a nice flat back and a nice flat seat. For the base here, I actually screwed and then I used one of these big barn nails. These are like 10D 6-inch barn nails, and the reason for that is I could actually bend the barn nail under here. I did pre-drill that hole before I nailed it in there just to make sure that this didn't split. And then so I did the same thing all the way through the base here. Now these are separate at this point. In order to put them together, you're going to want to sort of block it. So set this on the ground flat, set this up behind it, and you can temporarily screw it to some wood that you have, or set blocks behind it to get the angle just about right. If you go back here to look, this is more or less 90 degrees. It's just like most chairs. It's actually tilted slightly this way past 90, but just a little bit, is to put on your angle joints here. These are, again, just small pieces of wood that I had. I like to leave the bark on because it looks neat. Saw it right down the middle so that you get a nice flush edge there. And again, I used screws on this, so I used more deck screws. You can see them right here and down here. That gets everything hooked together real nicely, and then I actually took some of those big barn nails and stuck them in just to really secure things. A quick aside, here's a photo of this very swing right after I screwed the angle brackets to the back and seat. You can see some of the blocks of wood under it, and there's a big cast iron flower pot behind the whole thing to hold it all in place. Next, you're going to want to figure out where to attach these big hangers. These are very heavy-duty big hangers. I drilled this all the way through here and then put washers on the underside and a big old nut there. This one goes all the way through and under to there. So you want to make sure that you get these sunk into a lot of wood. These are each about 6 inches long. Did the same thing on the other side. The location of these is all the way at the corner here, and then as far up as you can get here. This one I actually attached directly through here, and it comes through right in there. That was kind of hard to join, but it was a good place to stick it. So you've got your 4 connector points there. Now go to your hardware store and buy some heavy-duty chain. You can bend this stuff apart with a couple wrenches or pliers or whatever you happen to have. I used a little carabiner here. This screws on and off right here. And you're going to have to sort of count links here and fiddle around with it until you get it to just the right height. And you will have to experiment with this part here. Again, carabiner to join this. Carabiner to join this over here. You're gonna have to experiment with the links of all these to get this to a comfortable sitting position. The frame is pretty simple here. You just create an A out of these, just any big old trunks that you have. Get them as straight as possible. You're gonna just dig a post, you know, get your post hole digger out and dig straight down into the ground. These are sunk about 3 feet into the ground. 3 feet in the ground. These are black locust. They are gonna take a really long time to rot. They will rot at some point and then I'll have to replace them, but you know, that's just the way it is. I just made them, you know, an extra foot wider than the bench itself here. Sunk them into the ground, and then at the point where they meet, I put a big long lag bolt all the way through. You can actually see the tip of it coming out there. And the same thing over here. This lag bolt goes all the way through. It doesn't actually come out on this side, I don't think. But that secures these two pieces together. Then you get your friend on a ladder and you both get up and you just lay this piece in across here. Now I lag bolted that in as well. So you can see right up in there, you can see the lag bolt coming through. So I actually set the lag bolt up here and drilled it all the way into this piece over here. I did the same thing on the other side. So this is a really strong frame. These here, I've got washers on the top, washer on the bottom, and I screwed that in just as tight as it can go with a nut on the top, a locking nut. This is a gigantic carabiner from the hardware store. I think it's tested like 1,000 pounds or something silly like that. But I actually did that just to make it easy to assemble all this. I got one more carabiner right there, and then the same thing on this side. Now, like I said, you're gonna have to adjust those chains until it feels right. Sit in your chair. If you need to take out an extra link, you can do so. And when you're all done, it's time to sit down and relax. There you have it, a do-it-yourself rustic swing that costs next to nothing and can be enjoyed for years. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unique and useful do-it-yourself builds.